Hey guys, here's a game I've wanted to cover for a while now. It's between my friend Matt and I, and I mean, just look at his profile picture there. I mean, he's smoking a cigarette, drinking a beer at age 5. I mean, I'm guessing that's around age 5 or so. That's pretty badass. I mean, he's already channeling his inner Mikhail Tal, so he's probably a brilliant chess player. Um, but yeah, no, Matt's been playing chess for not very long, only somewhat studying the game fairly recently, and really like surprising how fast someone can learn the game. Especially when you see some people that just have a gift for it, and Matt absolutely does. So here's a game where somebody gets outclassed though, so it's I'm not going to spoil the surprise and say what happens. I really enjoyed this game. I learned a lot from it. I would think he did too as well. So let's dive right in and see what happens. All right, so we're gonna start off. Here we go. All right, I have the white pieces. Matt has the black. I open with e4 as I normally do with the white pieces. E5, knight f3, and I'm thinking we're gonna get into something normal, a Roy Lopez or an Italian or something like that. But right out of the gate, he goes Queen E7, and I'm like, all right, Matt, come on. We've talked about this. Like, you don't bring out your queen early. Like, it's going to end up in a position where I'm just going to get rapid development and just kind of cramp your position. Clearly, right here, he's blocking his own dark squared bishop from developing unless he plans on fianchetto here and control this diagonal. But regardless, it's kind of a slow move. It's actually called the Gunderam Defense, which I've never even heard of before analyzing this game. And it kind of the engine right away says it's not very good. It gives usually white has an advantage out of the opening anyway, but this is a little more serious. It's about a pawn and a half worth. And right away, like I play a bit too slow of a move with c3. Like I should have done almost literally anything else. I should have played knight c3, the bishop anywhere along, or really somewhere more of a developing move. Get castle right away, just capitalize on Matt playing that queen move. So he goes into knight f6, attacking that pawn. All right, I protect the pawn. And then right away he strikes in the center. Beautiful move. I mean, attacking this twice really takes away from any advantage I might have. I mean, this is just smart and gets this bishop g4 move prepared. I think I'm getting ready to play bishop g5, try to keep this pin going with the queen here. All right, so right away I play bishop g5. He plays bishop g4. I'm bringing the other knight in, hoping to either develop my queen to c2 and go for some counterplay there. All right, he brings his knight to d7, possibly looking to castle long. And right here, just a capture, getting rid of that tension. And then the fact that he cannot recapture right away because we have this pin going on here. Maybe possibly thinking about supporting this pawn so as not to lose it right away. So he gets his queen out of the pin. Good move. And I don't know why I did this. I just decided to capture. Goes against everything. Goes against the principles. You're not supposed to capture unless you're gaining something out of it. You want to keep the tension. So I'm just helping his knight get further into the position. So let's see where it goes from there. All right, so knight captures, and I bring my knight to e4. And right away, I'm thinking here, grab here, and then I've got a strong, if I have my pawns here in the center, it's going to be strong, and then I can just develop bishop here, protecting the knight, get my queen active, castle. But let's see what happens. So strongest move recommended by the engine, just capture the pawn. And that's a common theme throughout this game. Matt plays a lot of, contrary to his opening, the Gunderam Defense, right away with Queen E7, or excuse me, Queen D7, I think it was, or no, it was Queen E7. Yeah, he plays a lot of moves that were strongest recommended by the engine after analyzing it. So right away, grab the knight, hoping to double his pawns, which is also unprincipled. Usually, double pawns are a bad thing, but when I'm giving him the option to castle long and then also get this rook where I'm potentially going to castle, unless I get my queen out of the way somewhere and I also castle long. But his queen is eyeing a2, so castling long probably isn't an option for me. But anyway, like I said, the doubled pawns here, I'm assuming is going to be a weakness, but it's really not. It ends up actually being a strength. All right, so I just go for the check. I think I probably thought, if he misses this here, if he blocks with the queen, I have this hanging bishop, or actually no, even if he blocked with the queen, that would be protecting it. Yeah, maybe I was thinking if he pops the pawn forward, I could block that way. But also getting my queen out of this pin, but also if he captures, then I get this file also. All right, so he blocks with the bishop, and then right away I go for a queen trade. I'm thinking his king's in the center, uncastled, might as well trade and just get things started. And I'm thinking I'm very confident in my end game. So, I'll just, even though things are fairly equal, I'll clean up in the end game. So he backs up his queen, the bishop, and I go for the trade, thinking, all right, I'll make this work. Getting my knight out of there. Kind of a problem here is exposing this because I can't develop the bishop without losing that pawn. So that's a bit of an issue for a second. So I'm thinking I'm going to kind of run a small blockade here, but then it's easily kicked with this pawn, or even blockade here, advance this pawn, try to kick the bishop. So let's see what happens. He plays a brilliant move, bishop h6, prevents me from ever castling long. And I gotta get, I don't have to get the knight out of there. If he captures, I just recapture with the king. All right, so I get my knight out of there, and he plays an excellent move. Like I already said in the beginning, he hasn't been playing too terribly long and like studying very long, but usually this isn't a thing people find early on in learning chess. Usually you think you always got a castle, but he keeps his king centralized and brings it in the game as an attacking piece, and gets his rooks connected right away with a good amount of mobility. So, and you'll see that here soon. So he advances. I advance the pawn, thinking, all right, I got to kick this bishop, start figuring something out, get my king castled, get my light squared bishop into the game. So it captures. I recapture, and here's where things just start piling on. He's playing, once again, top moves recommended by the engine. Rook d8. Finally get my bishop into the game, and he plays rook d4, taking advantage of these weaknesses here, knowing that the end game is going to play a lot better for him if he starts knocking off some of my pawns. So my bishop is protecting this pawn here, and I guess right away I'm thinking, oh, I gotta protect this. So I play f3, the absolute worst move possible. So if you want to take a second, pause the video, see if you can find how Matt completely capitalizes and dominates the position. It's like an anaconda putting a squeeze on its prey. It's like there's no way out. Every time you take a breath, it squeezes tighter, and you're getting no room to breathe, and things just get ugly. All right, so yeah, if you found it, awesome. If not, here it comes. Bishop e3. Notice it prevents me from castling. My only two legal squares are d1, f1. All right, so I can't even step out either direction. Right now, I'm kind of getting in panic mode. I'm thinking, okay, here comes the rooks. He's got this nice battery right here, which ultimately I shouldn't have panicked too much, just because right now my bishop and rook are protecting these squares. So I played g3, expecting, you know, I can get my king away, but my king was actually not too unsafe. It wasn't actually that bad. Like, clearly black's in a winning position, but I definitely overreacted here. I just panicked. Obviously, you know, you start seeing things like this on the way, and you just, you know, lose your mind, start seeing ghosts. All right, so he stacks up the rooks, and I start advancing the pawns, and this is when the evaluation just keeps dropping. All right, he plays rook d2. All right, with rook d2, just applying some pressure here. Obviously, my king can't really step out, and I'm getting completely cramped here. Like, my rook's got nowhere good to go. I can't come here. I have to protect this pawn, either advance it or protect it. If I just advance it right now, he's got this. You know, he plays the rook here, other rook here, and then he'll have both his rooks stacked coming in, and it's just over. So I decided to play rook b1, protecting the pawn, and he goes after my weak c pawn. And this move, I don't know why, didn't have to play that completely. So what I did is I just opened the floodgates here. I played bishop d1, and it allows his rook to come in anywhere he wants to. You know, f2, g2, and then also get this rook connected here. So completely waste of time move. All right, and then he gets it, rook f2, just completely crushing here. And here, so I played bishop e2, expecting, all right, if his rook comes in, at least his rooks are disconnected. His rooks would be disconnected, and my rooks are protecting these pawns. So if they ever get a chance to advance, which they probably won't, you know, at least I have that going for me. But the problem is, this bishop was perfectly fine right here. His rooks can't ever come to the e2 square because the bishop has it covered. So I didn't need to put the bishop there as a blockader at all. The only thing maybe I was thinking, if this rook comes here, all right, they have double attack here, and then you start knocking off all my king side pawns, or the same thing, come over here, stop and knock off the queen side pawns, and force a trade, and then grab with check, and then grab this rook. So regardless, lots of death and destruction going on here. All right, so he plays rook d2, completely cramping the position. Right now, the engine evaluation is a 4.17, so almost a full rook or 4 pawns. I mean, it's ugly. So I retreated the bishop, realizing my error, and this is even worse. I should have played a move advancing one of the pawns. This is just no good. So he advances his pawn, looking to cramp my position even further. He actually had a move here. Check out this mate. It's actually pretty cool. It's kind of hard to find because it takes a few moves to set it up. You play bishop d4 with the idea of lining up a discovery with his rook, and there's nothing I can do about it. My king can't step out of the way. I've got nowhere to go. So here's how the line plays out. Bishop d4. All right, I play whatever move, a5. I really don't have anything. Then first you have to capture the pawn, all right, because this pawn is obviously protecting that square. The bishop cannot be captured because then you just you hang a rook and your position is completely lost. So then we'll just play a6. All right, a6 with the idea of if I can capture and grab a queen, that would be awesome, but that never gets to happen because of bishop c3. Bishop c3, like I said, with the idea before of a discovery, moving out of the way, so you're getting a double check here. So look how deadly this is. All right, so I play whatever, attack the bishop. No matter what's played here, it's game over. Rook e2, checkmate. The bishop cannot capture the rook because there's a double attack going on here. All right, so there's a check here, cannot be captured, can't move out of the way, complete, once again, death and destruction. So that's one line that could have been played right there. But, I mean, that's a kind of hard one to find. So instead, b3 was played. I advanced the pawn, h4, and he's just coming in for the kill. All right, g takes 8, h4, bishop f4, and this was brilliant. So he actually found a way, like the line I showed earlier, to reroute the bishop to do this pin. He did the same exact thing, except he just did it this way, which, I mean, brilliant. Which is actually probably a slight improvement, just because notice this bishop here. I mean, if there's ever an attack in this direction, this bishop blocks it. But coming in this direction, there's no bishop. So if the rook's ever connected here, that wouldn't be in the way. So anyway, bishop f4 is played, h3, bishop g3, and then rook g1. I attack the bishop. I don't have a whole lot going on here, not really anything I can do. I mean, I can start to try to give away pieces maybe, but it doesn't really do anything. You know, mate is looming. Right here, there's so many possible checkmates. I mean, just with these rooks on this second rank here, and just keep in mind for your games, if you can get your rooks to the 7th or second rank as black, that's usually where you start cleaning up a lot of pawns and get a winning position in end game. So anyway, back to one of the possible checkmates. Let's say I block here, bishop e2. You just do rook takes e2 with check, king d1, rook d2 check. I keep moving away, king c1, rook c2 check, king d1, and rook f to d2 with mate. All right, so the bishop blocks this square, can't go this way, can't go this way. Rooks protect each other, game over. But in the game, back to, I played rook g1, then we have rook g2 with check. So, I mean, I'm floundering here. Not really a whole lot I can do. All I can play, this is forced king f1, rook d to f2 with check. I step out of the way, and there's a mate in one here. Rook g1 checkmate. All right, everything's protected. Wrong arrows. Everything's protected. It's over. But he plays with his food just a little bit for a couple moves. Rook b2 check, king f1, rook b to f2 check, king e1, and then he finds it. Rook takes g1 with mate. So clearly, I was the one that was absolutely outclassed here. He found so many brilliant moves. Like I was just shocked when I saw the engine evaluation and the post-game summary saying, you know, the blunders and mistakes and everything. Other than him playing that queen e7 move off the rip, everything else was just, I mean, best move after best move after best move, and I'm just like, okay, I'm getting trashed this time. And especially, I mean, when he played that bishop e3, I mean, that was an absolute killer. It crippled my position. I had no way to get back into the game. Even after looking through the analysis, I tried to find if there was any way to come back, and there was just like, even the engine couldn't find any lines to get out of it other than being, you know, it was like -3, -4 the whole time. So completely outclassed. Fun, it's such a fun game, but yeah, I don't know what else I can say about it. Never underestimate anybody. This is just one of those times where, you know, you assume you have the advantage, and you know, you assume you're the stronger player, and you can just figure something out. Oh, I'll just trade down to a winning end game, and I'll clean it up from there. But absolutely not the case. So hats off to you, Matt, and I think it's time for a rematch soon. So that's pretty much it, and I will see you guys next time.